we set aside some time for them as well. And as much as we're preoccupied with so many things today, I'm so glad that so many of us were able to come together like this. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. And we had a few technical difficulties and glitches today. We had some family out in California that was unable to come, sort of because of the pandemic concerns, and they've also got some health issues that made the travel, which is quite a distance, you know, here at the other side of the state. So they were unable to join us, and we were unable to get the Wi-Fi going to have them Zoom in. You guys all know Zoom? Who's done some Zoom in here? Yeah, it's not my favorite either, but you know, we try. It's better just to be here in person, I think. Amen. So today we're here. It's a celebration of life for my father, John Edward Cowles Jr. The man, the myth, the legend, as he was so affectionately remembered. And one of his favorite hats and his favorite mug is over there that bears the same phrase there, and he certainly lived up to all that in many ways. You guys bear with me. I've got a eulogy written here, so I may do a few impromptu moments, but we'll try to get this thing going. And as far as my dad, there was a mystique to my father, certainly, and the legends will remain of his exploits and endeavors. But no one would ever deny he had an openness to his fellow humanity, a willingness to lend a helping hand or advice to those in need, no matter if they were strangers or you knew him well. He was a serious man when the moment called for it, but he was a child at heart, and remained in awe and wonder of the world in which he lived and the people he loved. And we all could attest to his status as a mentor and the unwavering quality of character that he possessed. No doubt those were hard-fought and hard-won qualities of the man, especially if his children's lives are any indication of his youth. I have tried to honor his memory the best way I know how, with a speech. With the vocabulary and the clarity of conviction he spent so many years ensuring I would have. He was always pushing me to be a better writer, a better person. And both in school and in life, it is because of him I developed the gifts I have. And one of his favorites was certainly always my writings. And so I hope these words I've compiled today will do my old man justice. That was my son's name there at the end, by the way. I just wanted to say I worked that in. John was a great parent, and I could not ask for a better father. I'm not saying he was a perfect individual. None of us are. But he was a dad that tried, and more often than not, succeeded. And he had a consistency of effort that helped him persevere in a strong spiritual foundation, one of which I am sure mine and my brothers played a very big part in helping to grow and develop. Praise Jesus. He was well-rounded and well-read, which made him very opinionated, and he certainly had the gift of gab, as he so often announced and so many of us so affectionately remember. I always admired my father, and even through my hellacious adolescent years and many of the altercations and differences of opinions we had, I always knew that I could count on him, and he would be there, and be interested in where I was, whom I was with, and what I was doing. I know these are the same sentiments my siblings felt, even though we each share a unique father-son experience and unique nicknames that he had just for about everyone. I think it was because his memory wasn't all there, but it was so Sean was Sean the Bond Man, Seanathan, Shawnee, and then there's Nicholas, Nickel P. Wally. It's my favorite. And then Chrissy Mo, which, I think he got more, creative as he got on there, but Chrissy Mo was good for the first one, I'm sure. Always a character, always lighthearted and funny. But he could get serious real quick. He certainly had his hands full raising 3 boys up. But he gave us all the love and guidance we ever needed. My mother, too, was always treated like a queen. She is. And both in good times and the bad, he was a committed husband. And she would swear probably he needed to be committed a couple of times, but he tempered her critiques with kindness and her considerations with perspective. And he managed to provide and even indulge on occasion. And I feel I owe a great deal of my own wisdom and understanding of women from my father's own insightful example. In fact, he pushed me, not hard, but just a little nudge, enough to recognize when I had the love of my life in front of me. And I think he played a big role in getting us set up, huh, love? In fact, I know Jess loves to tell the story of the time I was out in New Mexico for almost 3 months when we first met, and she swore I was never coming back. And my dad had to assure her that I just needed a little more time and not to worry, that I was definitely coming back. And of course, I did, and promptly made her my girlfriend, and shortly thereafter my fiance and wife and mother of my 2 beautiful boys. In short, my father was a father that cared, in every sense of that word. He was there for me and my brothers and mother as much as his work schedule would allow. And since the time he left California in 1991, he had never sought much in the way of his own ideology and dreams, as much as he did in his plans and thoughts for the family, and what was in each of our best interests. there were more of his traits, which I'm so thankful to have inherited. His selflessness and charity were deep and broad, and he cared a great deal about people and what he could do to make their lives easier. And even if it was just a conversation, he was there for so many of us. And we have evidence of that in some of his longtime customers that have joined us here today. We're so grateful for it. Clearly he meant a lot to many of those folks that he serviced throughout the years. And this habitual behavior, coupled with his endless optimism, always a glass half full kind of guy, and made him a force to be reckoned with on many folks' best buddy list. And Dad also knew when to reach out, a very important social skill. And so the king of the phone call was often on display, and between his calls and his in-persons, the man stayed steadily busy with social engagements. And I guess his social life didn't really ever stop when we moved here. It just shifted focus. As fate would have it, I feel the same happening in my life now, having moved away and grown up at the same time. I can better understand my father's choices today than I could have even a few short years ago. And he loved to tell me the old Cats in the Cradle song. That was his favorite one, that, the son, you all guys know that, the son moves away and eventually he's too busy to come see the dad. Dad's too busy to see the son, and then it shifts on him. But he loved quoting that one. And my father's interests and hobbies were not completely discarded with his quest to be the best dad and husband around. And his children definitely inherited his love for action movies, comedy, sci-fi, and the golden age of Hollywood. We were very well rounded in that regard. And art forms of all kinds, engineering and design, all passed on in one way or another to each of his sons. He showed us how sports, working as a team, organizing and strategizing, and learning to play by the rules were all important things for his kids and kids in general to learn. And so in everyday life, as in sports, my father became a surrogate father figure, a voice of reason and encouragement, or my personal favorite, the coach, as he was called. And not just with sports or Boy Scouts, but my dad was a life coach. And many of my friends, said fiends, but I think that was a typo, sorry. And I can tell you all about it. And maybe even today they will. Of the times that Daddy O'Cowles, the coach, really helped them through something. And so he was unusually well regarded by my friends. strange in our adolescent years when we didn't trust many parents, and many of whom got their feet under them under our roof. Now, one such occasion, there's been many that we brought home, that my parents have been gracious enough to allow to hang a hat. Probably some of the most memorable were the Ninja Boys, Jay and Dan Stakes, wonderful guys from Gainesville that had moved to Auburn a few years back. And they were wayward in their ways, but we allowed them to live at the house and get their act together a little bit more. And my dad got a wonderful back porch out of the deal and a new roof, so it was good for him. He's a smart guy, you know. But we definitely put all these people to work as best we could, and again tried to help as many of our friends and girlfriends and everything else that kind of walked through the door sort of better themselves. And my parents were always so open in that regard, and so thankful for that. And I know many people we know were as well, so thank you. But as easygoing and open as he was, and he would also use these opportunities to minister, and he was a man of great faith, and taught many of us ways in which we should try to steer our lives from the temptations that are out there and towards a more constructive direction. And it's in this ministry, I believe, he saved many of us from wars of faith. Another thing I share with my father is my own baptism at Calvary Baptist Church, which started in Southern California, I believe. And my dad got baptized there in the Pacific Ocean. I know we've got some pictures of that somewhere around. Don't know if we have them here, but as fate would have it, the good Lord's plan, I got baptized here at the Calvary Chapel in Georgia, not too many years after I screwed up my life royally and was trying to make my way back to some semblance of a life. And my dad was there and directed me spiritually as well as in life. And I think that moment in particular, in fact I know, that moment set me on a much better trajectory than I might have been otherwise. But my dad was always a spiritual leader of our family. Drug us to church many Sundays when we didn't want to go, but we went all the same. My mother also, very spiritual in her own right, raised us up, good morals, which we tried to throw out the window several times, but we finally, I think, have found a good place and a good path towards our own walks with Christ. Thank you. And my dad's accomplishments in life, as you might well know, are many. Not only has he been accomplished in his social endeavors and the people in his life, but he also